Welcome back, man. Right down here.
How we doing?
How are you, man?
Doing good. How could you not be doing good in Hawaii?
I completely agree. How have you felt these past few months? I mean, obviously, had the setback against Stotts, not here fighting for $1 million like you wanted to be. So, what was the kind of the aftermath of that from Connecticut, and then how long did it take you to say, all right, now we just move forward?
Yeah, I mean, it fucking sucks. It still burns, to be honest. As much as I want to say that I'm totally over it, I'm not, and I won't be over it until I get my revenge against Stotts. But you know what? You got to put one foot forward in front of the other, and I have to do that right now against a guy in Marcos Breno, who's got a lot of potential, who can be very dangerous, who's a very good power puncher. He can put anybody's lights out. But you know what? I'm a guy that's always going to be motivated, even though in the eyes of two people, I lost. It's not the end of the world. I wake up the next morning and I train to be the best fighter in the world, train to get that title around my waist. And now I already put my next foot forward. And the next thing to do in order to get that belt is to beat the fuck out of Marcos Breno in Hawaii. And what better place than Hawaii? I think this is where Danny Sabatello really bursted to the scene, was in Hawaii. I had my first fight against Brett Johns, who is obviously coming out of the UFC, being very successful. But even if after I beat him, I feel like the fans didn't really understand how good I was. They might have thought it was a fluke. It was that next fight when I faced Jornal Lugo. Thank God that James Gallagher pulled out of the tournament because he's a pussy, that I was able to obviously get the win out of Jornal and kind of cement my name into this mix.
What's the difference when you have to train for somebody who you just said has a lot of potential versus somebody who had a piece of hardware around their waist and is pretty well known here in the promotion? I don't want to call it a drop off. I don't want to be disrespectful to your opponent. But there is a difference in the name value. So how do you deal with something like that as they are happening back to back like this?
Yeah, everything's the same. No matter who I fight, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give them my full focus. This is a very dangerous game. This isn't pussy ass football or basketball where you make one little mistake and it's fine. You know what? They hit a home run, whatever. You come back the next pitch. This is a game where if you are out of place for just a millisecond, just an inch off, your lights get put out. Not only do you lose the fight, but you get brain damage and all that shit. So you got to take everything very serious. With this Breno fight, I take it just as serious as this Raphael Stotts fight. I'm lucky enough to actually hate this guy Breno as well. So obviously the extra motivation is there. I don't like this guy. I know he hasn't really been talking too much trash, unlike Stotts, who was, but that's only because this guy only speaks Portuguese. He doesn't really speak English. I wanted to get in his head before the fight and have some words exchanged between us, but obviously with him not speaking English, we don't really get that banter. But that's all right. I think I'll be already in his head before fight night. Anytime you fight Danny Sabatello, the Italian gangster, the lights are very bright and everybody understands this. It's a different fight when you fight me. There's extra pressure and it's just a matter of time where you see if people rise to the occasion or they shell away. I think this is a young kid that I can take advantage of and pull a veteran move, get in his head before the fight, and then just break him and split open his fucking face in the fight.
Have you bumped into Raphael at all this week here in the hotel? And if not yet, if you do cross paths with him, which it's bound to happen, it's not that big of a place. What's the situation there? I mean, you want to avenge that loss, but who knows when it'll come. So do you spend energy on being aggravated with him, with talking trash with him, with giving him some side eye, or do you just move on past and say, all right, that's for 6 months from now or a year from now?
Yeah, ideally, you don't want to give any unneeded energy to somebody that you're not fighting. But I'm a guy that kind of has a little bit of a temper and he does get on my nerves. I'll hear his dumbass fucking laugh from a mile away. So I really have hurt him this fight week. It's not ideal. I don't want to see that motherfucker. The hate is very real between us. A lot of times in MMA, you have guys talking trash to each other. Then after they hug it out and they love each other and you know what, they get a drink after or whatever, they're fine. This is a rivalry that will never be fine. Even after I split his face open next time I fight him, we will still hate each other. That's a lifelong hatred and I'll always hate him. Yeah, I've run into him a couple of times, not really too close face to face, but seen him in the distance. I think he doesn't really know how to react. He's a little bit immature. He gets a little bit nervous around me. He starts swaying and moving around a lot. I see a lot of nervous energy with him just because he knows I won that fight and he knows that we will fight again. For me, I'm just a stone hard, cold killer. I couldn't give one fuck. I'll stab him in the fucking throat if he's sitting next to me right now. Doesn't matter to me. But ideally, I do have my eyes on Marcos Breno, and that's just how I have to be. Is first things first, take care of Marcos Breno, and then we'll see what happens after that. Yep.
Obviously, you're focused on Marcos Breno, but just one last thing while you were talking on that past fight. Obviously, you have your opinions on it, and even though you don't agree with the judges, do you think did you take any positives from that as far as how to make it clearer what you were seeing and they're not, or do you just forget about that, keep doing what Danny Sabatello does?
Yeah, in a high level fight like that, when everything is so close, you got to take away both the positives and negatives. I'm very honest with myself. I evaluate myself very accurately. I don't want to blow smoke up my ass, and I don't want to be too negative with myself. There was a lot of good things that I did in that fight. Still to this day, after I've watched that fight 7 or 8 times, I do have myself winning that fight. But I really didn't have too much volume. I'm a very volume strike orient based guy. I need to keep the volume up because my conditioning is probably the best in MMA. So as long as I keep guys breathing heavy, then I can break them. I felt like I didn't put too much volume with him. If I did, it would have been just an absolute no contest. It would have been very easy for the judges. Unfortunately, it was a tough fight to score. I did still have it 4 rounds to 1. But yeah, there's so many positive things. I had like 13, 11, 12 minutes of ground control time. One thing we underestimated with Rufian Stotts was how bad his fucking grappling is. We anticipated him to be very scrambly. We anticipated after I do get the takedown, because nobody can stop it, that he would be able to get back to his feet, or he would go for a lot of submissions. He really didn't. He really didn't do too much. And in that fight, I kind of got lulled to sleep and just complacent. I remember in the later rounds, maybe the 4th or 5th round, I was on top of him, and I thought, maybe don't take too many risks because I'm on top and I'm winning this fight. He's not throwing up any strikes. He's not going through any submissions. So just cruise to a victory. Why would I take any risk? But obviously, it's a learning experience. If it is a close fight, then I always do have to be going for the finish. And that's one thing I'm going to do Friday night and here in Hawaii is I will always be chasing the finish. Even if I'm very up on the scorecards, 2 rounds to none in that 3rd round, I still will be going for the finish because you have to in this game. You don't want to leave it up to 3 people. As cliche as that sounds, obviously, ideally, yeah, you want to fucking finish everyone. Thanks for letting me know not to leave it in the hands of the judges. Yeah, no fucking shit. But obviously, you got to take that to heart and really do got to try to finish it at every second of the fight.
Sure, absolutely. And scoring criteria, there's a lot of conversations that it has been too kind of the wrestlers. That's why I thought I'd toss that out to you with your last match being very apropos to that conversation. But let me ask you, you're telling me about the matchups. And when I hear you before, obviously the passion and personality you speak with, it brings eyes and attention. But when I'm listening to you, you sound very well studied, very honest with yourself about your opponents. You seem like a really prepared professional. Do you think that aspect of yourself gets perhaps overlooked with the other noise?
Yeah, I hope not. I don't really know too much what the fans are saying. I don't really give a fuck because half the fans out there are dumb as shit. So I don't really put too much into it. I don't want to put too much stock into some 12-year-old fat kid that's never been in a fight in his life. So I don't really care what the fans say. I don't know what really they're analyzing, but I am very calculated with everything I do. I'm very calculated even with my trash talk because I do believe in mental warfare. I do believe if you have a veteran in the game that's been in here, that's had I think 3 fights now in Bellator to where this guy's only had 1 fight and he's young, maybe 25, 26 years old. I can take advantage of that with my mental warfare. So yeah, I'm very calculated with this. And at the end of the day, man, this is what I fucking love. I love doing this. I'm a very hard worker. Nobody outworks me. The reason I can talk so much shit and back this up is because I train at the best gym in the world at American Top Team twice a day, every day, no matter what. I look forward to going to the gym. I look forward to studying my opponent. I look forward to the mental warfare. And you just have to be, this is my profession. I don't have hobbies. Hobbies are for average people. I'm not fucking average. I do this game and that's all I fucking do is I study it and I live it. So with that, the only thing that will come of that is being very calculated with this stuff and being very smart with this. And that's what I am. This isn't just all for show. There is a reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. And there is a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing in these fights.
Awesome. Last one for me. Obviously, you're prepared, focused, calculated. We're on the same page there. But let me just ask you without challenging that too much. You're focused on your opponent. If you get out and very healthy, you're feeling good after this fight, Bellator announced they're going back to Chicago in June. Is that something on your mind? I'm not trying to get you distracted from the goal at hand, but do you think about those things?
Yeah, of course. Chicago is my hometown. I would absolutely make that place erupt. I'm a guy that wants to fight all the time anyways. after I beat the shit out of Marcos Breno, I might have a couple of shots of vodka on me, come back to the hotel and try to fight Patchy and Stotts. I don't know. I might not be able to wait till Chicago, June 16th, but that is something that I really want. After I do finish Breno and have a very successful fight against him and show out, I would love to fight in front of my hometown. I really think we could sell that place out and the crowd will be chanting Sabatello. I am very known in that town. That is, honestly, all my friends and family and fans are really in Chicago. I live in South Florida right now only because I made the move to American Top Team to train at the best gym in the world. But everybody I do know is back in Chicago, and we would blow the roof off that motherfucker. There's a lot of exciting fights out there for me. Whether you give me anybody, give me James Gallagher, give me the Russian Magomed, give me the loser of the fight tomorrow. Doesn't fucking matter. Every fight is exciting when you face me, but obviously there's a lot of potential there, and I would love to, and I will demand to be on that Chicago card. I need to be.
Hey, Sabatello, K Williams for Can Chronicles Media. I got to ask you, man, do you feel as though being vocal has led to any of your regrets after you actually lost to Stotts in your last match?
No, not at all. I'll always be me. One thing that I am is always me, whether I win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter. I could lose 5 in a row. I will still be talking trash because that's what I do. That's what Danny Sabatello does. Talk trash. Anybody that knows me, doesn't matter. I lost to Mike Brown in ping pong about 3 times earlier, and I was still talking trash the entire time. That fucking never changes. That's just who I am. And I think the fans are owed to see who these fucking fighters are, what their personality is. It's just unfortunate that there's so many boring fucking fighters out there. But yeah, no, nothing has really backfired. And, I'm a guy that, yeah, sure, I can talk shit. I have a lot of star power. I'm the face of this company, but nothing comes easy to me. I'm not one of these guys that, just because I have a name, I'm hand fed cans. It's not like that. I've actually had the toughest route in this shit. When I first started this career in Bellator, I was given a guy that was ranked top 10 in the UFC for my fucking debut. What I do, I starched him. I didn't get any favors after that. I get thrown into this mix of a Grand Prix tournament, and I have to fight my way into the tournament. So if anything, I've had nothing but the hard route, and I take pride in that. Give me the fucking hard route. Give me the hardest fight there is. Give me 2 fucking fighters against me. We could do the first thing ever in MMA, 2 fighters versus me. That's fine. I'll be down with that. So I take pride in talking my shit, and I take pride in my work, and my work speaks for itself, but I'll speak for it also.
And Sabatello, do you consider this match against Breno as a bounce back fight and redemption?
Yes and no. On paper, I lost that fight, but in the back of my mind and in the back of the fans that actually fucking understand MMA know that I won that fight. So I don't really look at it like that. I don't look at it as a bounce back. I don't look at it as a must win. I don't look at it as I have to, go out there and just reestablish myself for the fans and remind everybody or whatever, yada, 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 whatever. Everybody knows what I'm capable of. Everybody knows that I'm the best fucking guy in this bantamweight division across all MMA promotions. And nobody obviously can keep up with me on the ground. This is just a fight where I go out there, I do what I do, and I fucking make it exciting. I beat the shit out of this guy, I break him, I make it bloody. I get him in there and I fucking drowned him with strikes and takedowns and takedown attempts, going after going, break him, see that he's breaking, see that I can finish him, hold up, wait, break him a little bit more, then finish this motherfucker. That's just what I'm excited for. I'm excited for actually fighting this motherfucker. I'm a little bit different than these MMA guys. These MMA guys go out there and all these fighters can't wait for the victory after. They can't wait for the celebration. They can't wait to get their hand raised. I can't wait to get in there and actually perform. I actually love fucking fighting, and that's what I'm looking forward to, is going out there, performing in front of these awesome Hawaii fans and beating the shit out of this motherfucker.
And I got one last question, man. How much have you racked up in fines with Bellator due to your profane language, man? I got to ask you.
Yeah, a lot. I don't keep track of that. I'm not a money guy. I couldn't give 2 fucks about money. I didn't get into this game for money. I will never be about money. I got into this game because I fucking love it. The money will come with winning fights and being who I am. Bellator does love me, so they'll take care of me on the back end. So I'm not too worried about the fines. I'm always going to be me. If I swear out there again in Hawaii after my post-fight victory, I'll probably be fined again. I don't give a fuck. If a swear comes to my mind and it rolls off my lips, I'm not going to hold it back. I will always be me. You want to find me? Go fuck yourself. Don't give a shit.
Jim?
Hey, Italian gangster. How you doing, brother? Jim Barcelone here.
Good. How you doing, bro?
All right, good. Hey, so getting ready for this fight, you mentioned ATT. I'm just curious first, did you do any different sparring with anybody there to get ready for this fight compared to the last fight? And just who's going to be in your corner for this one?
No, not too much was different for this fight. I'm lucky enough to train at the best gym in the world at American Top Team, and everybody knows how deep it is at American Top Team. We've got like 20 bantamweights on the roster. So I go with all of them. One thing that I keep in mind is I'm still young in this game and I'm trying to beat everybody, not just one person. As the fight nears, you kind of tailor your game to this specific person. So of course I've been going with shorter power punchers towards the end of this training camp. But, all in all, throughout this whole process, I've just been going with everybody, becoming a better mixed martial artist, just becoming everywhere, because even after this Breno fight, when I do fight in Chicago, I'll have a completely different style guy, and I need to be ready for him too. You can't get ready for a fight within 2 months. The preparation is your whole fucking career. So I'm going out there each day at the gym, and I'm training to beat fucking everybody. And in my
And you
corner, it's
mentioned-
going to be my boy Aaron Acid, who always has my back. He's had my back since college. He's kind of so there. He's there really to just have my back in case anybody kind of like tries anything. This is crazy where everybody in this game hates me. I talk shit to this whole division, and this whole division is friends with each other. There's a lot of guys out there that want to catch me slipping on their phones. They're just waiting for me to slip up where they can come at me with their gang and be like, oh, you're not so tough now, Sabatello, and gain up on me. But my boys there pretty much to just have my back, make sure that shit doesn't happen, because no one is rolling up on me. And then, of course, my head coach, Mike Brown, best MMA coach in the world. And then my striking coach, Anderson, will also be out here with me.
And Sabatello, you mentioned that you were right back at ATT. Anytime I go there, you're always working, you're always training hard. And I'm just curious, is that always the mindset, more win than lose or draw? But is that always the mindset for you, that it doesn't matter what match, title match, non-title match, I'm going in the gym next when I'm in town again?
Yeah, 100%. I go in the gym not just to get better, but just because I fucking love it. I wake up every day and I get excited to go to the gym. I wake up, I have my morning coffee, boom, I'm energized, and I'm ready to go get fucking better as a fighter. I am going there to get better at putting my fucking elbow through somebody's skull. What is better than that to me? So it doesn't matter to me whether I win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter if I have a fight, no fight. Ask anybody at American Top Team or anybody that comes through. I am always at the gym. I'm a guy that will go to the gym next week when I sober up, hopefully. And I'll be there on fucking Monday. Sometimes after a fight, I get kicked out of the gym that Monday because my coaches tell me to just go rest my body, rest my mind, and just make sure I come back absolutely sharp and ready to go. But you know what? I just hate taking time away from the gym just because I get my fix in with the gym. Once again, I don't really have too many hobbies. I don't play dumbass fucking video games or read books or do any of that stupid shit. I go out there and I get better at as a fighter. And I absolutely love it. Nothing is better to me and more fun to me than fighting. I live in South Florida, obviously the beach, and there's so many distractions. I do love having a good time. Nobody has a better time than me. But all in all, I'm a very motivated person to get back in there in the gym and have some fun. Awesome. Thank you.